Episode 131.
Uncle, why tease your junior like this? Everyone knows seniority in the cultivation world is determined by one's cultivation level. As long as I haven't reached the foundation establishment stage, you, Uncle Ma, will naturally remain my senior.
Han Li said, immediately pouring the old man a cup of medicinal flower tea and handing it to him.
Good, good. You're a teachable one. It seems you haven't let all this go to your head. I'll give you a preview then. To be honest, even if I didn't tell you, you'd have found out in 3 or 4 days anyway.
Han Li paused for a moment, then listened even more closely to what came next. The matter of Ancestor Li suddenly taking him as a disciple had left him in a constant state of nervous apprehension.
What kind of reward do you think you'll get for handing in so many spirit herbs this time?
That should be enough for 2 foundation establishment pills, right? I checked beforehand. Handing in around 10 spirit herbs can be exchanged for 1 foundation establishment pill.
When the rewards are handed out in a few days, you'll be lucky to get 1 foundation establishment pill. Don't even dream about getting 2.
What? Are you saying someone would dare withhold the reward?
No one's skimming anything, and no one would dare. The only one whose reward was reduced was you. Everyone else should have received theirs in full. Otherwise, who would dare to join the blood-forbidden trial next time?
Is it because of Patriarch Li?
You're not completely stupid to have figured it out so quickly. It is indeed because Uncle Li took you as his disciple. Our sect has an unwritten rule. When a clear master-disciple relationship exists, the master has the right to claim half of the tribute their disciple submits to the sect as a token of gratitude. But this is a one-time exception. It won't happen again. And the spirit herbs you gathered in the Forbidden Zone also count as a kind of tribute to the sect. So, my estimation is that the reason Uncle Li is so eager to take you as a disciple is that he's probably got his eye on those dozen or so gratitude gifts of yours. Since only half the spirit herbs made it up the chain, your reward is naturally cut in half. So don't expect 2 foundation establishment pills.
Han Li frowned slightly, but no trace of annoyance or displeasure showed on his face. He simply lowered his head and remained silent. Well, that's a bit surprising. Of course, he had no idea that Han Li wasn't angry at all. In fact, he let out a long sigh of relief, finally able to relax.
So it was my spirit herbs they were after. That's not what I expected, but it's a relief. I'm about to start the alchemy furnace. As long as I succeed, a single foundation establishment pill is nothing to me.
The little old man had no idea about Han Li's state of mind. Seeing Han Li remain silent, he assumed the young man was just bottling up a belly full of resentment, simply good at controlling himself and not letting it show.
You may have lost 1 foundation establishment pill, but gaining the status of a nominal disciple under Elder Li is a fair trade. It's not a bad deal at all. Your aptitude really isn't very good. Even if you took 2 foundation establishment pills, your chances of a successful breakthrough would still be slim. It would be better to trade 1 for the protection of Uncle Li. Even if Uncle Li didn't take you on as a disciple in earnest, you're still flying his banner. What ordinary disciple or steward would go out of their way to cause trouble for you? And from what I know, Uncle Li is a pretty open-minded person.
Ever since Elder Ma gave me those 2 bottles of pills before I entered the Forbidden Zone, I could tell he's the kind of person who's cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He's genuinely a good man. And now he's said this. He really is someone worth getting to know better.
Han Li thought this, but on the surface, he still had to put on the appearance of being reluctantly persuaded by the old man. He let out a few bitter chuckles and said a few words, as if it were nothing at all. Seeing that Han Li seemed to have recovered from the blow, Uncle Ma was quite pleased. Before long, he took his leave and departed. Naturally, the 100-herb garden was returned to Han Li's care. Though the Forbidden Land expedition had lasted only about 10 days, Han Li felt as if a century had passed. Lying in his bed in the 100 Herbs garden, he felt an immense warmth and a deep sense of belonging.
I made it back alive from that life or death journey, and I achieved my goal perfectly. Now I can finally sleep soundly.
Han Li slept deeply and sweetly, as if all the struggles of the world had, in that moment, drifted far away from the man in his dreams. Han Li slept straight through until noon the next day. After waking up, he felt refreshed and immediately began planning his next steps.
My first priority is to quickly mature and preserve the 3 main herbs I have on hand. As for the other supplementary herbs, I'll arrange for them last. However, preparing everything is not a matter of 10 days or half a month. It will likely take at least several years before everything is in order and I can officially begin pill refining.
So, with all the medicinal ingredients ready, Han Li was in no rush. Instead, he took the time to sort through the other spoils he'd gathered from the Forbidden Zone. The final tally was over a dozen mid-grade spirit stones, several hundred low-grade ones, a whole pile of various grade magical artifacts, several pieces of armored beetle carapace, a variety of materials harvested from the ink flood dragon, and a single flying silver sword. However, aside from these items, 2 others caught Han Li's attention: a doll holding a bow and arrow, and a sheet of shimmering silver paper. The figurine was primarily carved from wood, yet it was remarkably lifelike. It wore realistic-looking iron armor and a helmet, and the longbow in its hands was crafted from bronze. This item was the high-grade magic tool, the puppet archer, that Han Li had originally managed to procure from his sect.
I haven't even tried this magic tool out since I got it. It requires the spiritual sense partitioning technique. You have to inject a wisp of your spiritual sense into the puppet to make it work. But who would even cultivate a soul-splitting technique before reaching Foundation establishment? Only cultivators at the Foundation establishment stage or above have sufficient spiritual sense to withstand the agony of splitting it. With the meager spiritual sense of a chi condensation cultivator, they'd likely go completely mad and collapse long before the process succeeded.
So when cultivators talk about using their spiritual sense to scan their surroundings or examine objects, that's not true soul splitting at all. It's just a minor technique for projecting their existing sense outward. A split spiritual sense cultivated through such a secret art is the equivalent of gaining one or even several duplicate consciousnesses, primarily used to control multiple artifacts at once. The more split souls you have, the more magic tools you can control at once. A chi condensation disciple can, at most, wield 2 magic tools simultaneously. Any more than that, and they lose all control. Han Li toyed with the doll in his hand for quite a while before setting it down and picking up the silver page to examine it. This silver page was a trophy Han Li had taken from the barefoot man of the giant sword sect. Its surface was covered in raised and sunken, peculiar patterns, giving it an air of profound mystery. Han Li pondered it for a long while, but still couldn't make heads or tails of it, so he had to give up for the time being. And so, in the days that followed, Han Li split his time between studying the silver page and waiting for word from the higher-ups.
I wonder if what the old man said is true and my reward really was watered down.
On the afternoon of the 4th day, Uncle Wang and another less familiar steward came looking for Han Li. They truly did bring a Foundation establishment pill as a reward, and the explanation they gave was essentially the same as the old man's. They simply changed the story about Elder Li taking his spirit herbs to say it was a disciple's proper duty to offer such tribute.
Just as I thought. I understand, Master. I am grateful you do not find this disciple too foolish. It is only right that I present a gift to honor my teacher.
Han Li's words came as a relief to the 2 stewards, who had expected a lengthy explanation. They soon took their leave, all smiles. Han Li watched the 2 of them leave, gave a self-deprecating laugh, and carefully stored away his newly acquired Foundation establishment pill.
Now is not the time to take pills for a breakthrough. It's better to wait until I've refined my foundation establishment pill and take them together. After all, I can't enter secluded meditation until the pill is refined.
And so 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Han Li's preparations for alchemy were finally complete. In that not insignificant span of time, a few things did come to pass. During that time, after taking a foundation establishment pill she'd been awarded, junior sister Chen underwent a full year of arduous cultivation. 2 years ago, she finally succeeded in her breakthrough and entered the foundation establishment stage. As for his elder brother, luck was not on his side. Even after consuming his second foundation establishment pill, he still failed to break through, remaining stuck outside the foundation establishment stage. Word has it that the eldest son of the Chen family completely lost faith in the path of immortality. He simply bid farewell to his sect and returned home to manage the family's affairs. And then there was Han Li, whose reputation within Yellow Maple Valley was quietly on the rise, making him a minor figure of note. The story of his incredible luck in the Forbidden Zone, snagging a bounty of spirit herbs, and being taken on as a nominal disciple by the ancestor, spread like wildfire through the entire sect in the year after his return. It stoked the envy of the other low-level disciples to a fever pitch. It wasn't until the second year that the matter finally began to die down. However, during this time there was a minor interlude. The old man surnamed Yi, who had previously swindled him out of most of his belongings, suddenly sent someone to return everything he had owed, all in one go with a little extra on top. Han Li was thoroughly enjoying the feeling of having a powerful backer to shelter under, and couldn't help but feel a little smug.
It seems this title of being Ancestor Li's nominal disciple really does come in handy sometimes.
But honestly, Han Li had nothing to say about this newly acquired master of his. Apart from sending another nominal disciple to deliver a hand-copied manual of the Clear Origins sword art, he sent no further word in the 3 years that followed. It was as if he'd completely forgotten about Han Li. Han Li might have grumbled a bit, but he was actually quite content with the current situation. His entire focus was now on concocting the foundation establishment pill, and he naturally didn't want anyone disturbing him. However, this near-hermitic existence finally came to an end today. 3 days ago, Han Li finished maturing the last of the required auxiliary spirit herbs. Everything was ready. All that was needed was the final catalyst. After adjusting for several days, Han Li gathered all the spirit herbs he had accelerated and set off for Moondew Hall. The Moondew Hall looked exactly as Han Li remembered it from years ago. Of course, the 2 foundation establishment cultivators guarding the teleportation array were different now. But the identical procedure and the identical look of impatience secretly amused Han Li. But regardless, he made it inside the Moondew Hall. Following the unmarked passage, Han Li once again encountered the ugly man he so disliked. He was inside the stone room, fast asleep. Han Li frowned, thought for a moment, then reached out and produced the bell magic tool. He took a few steps to the ugly man's side and gave the bell a light shake right by his ear. The bell's chime was nothing to Han Li, but it made the ugly man jump up as if his pants were on fire.
Huh? What's going on? Who's there? You? What are you doing here?
The ugly man was still half-conscious, so he didn't immediately curse Han Li out.
Seeing this, Han Li didn't stand on ceremony and immediately invoked the name of his newly acknowledged master.
I am a disciple of Patriarch Li Huaiyuan. I need to use the earth fire. Please open the gate.
Ancestor Li?
The ugly man clearly recognized the name of this patriarch and was immediately terrified. He hurriedly agreed and turned to head for the stone door.
But he had only taken a few steps when he stopped short, a thought striking him. He turned back, his gaze sweeping over Han Li with open suspicion.